Hello, listeners, and welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, John Mazer. Turnin Dirt podcast is powered by Mazer Group. We're a family-owned and operated New Holland dealer complex across Saskatchewan and Manitoba with 18 locations. Today, I have the honor of having the co-founder and CEO of Purely Canada Foods, Tyler West. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you, John. It's an honor. When I was asked to do this podcast a few weeks back, I'll be honest, I was a little nervous, but the more and more I thought about it and our involvement with the Mazer Group and the things that we're doing, the things that you're doing, a huge congratulations to that. I jumped at the opportunity and glad to be here. So
yeah, we're really happy to have you here, Tyler. And so what I'd like you to do is give us a little quick snapshot of Purely Canada Foods. Obviously, you reside in Lejorda's head office. You've got a couple other locations, but give us a snapshot of the day-to-day operations and what Purely Canada is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Purely Canada Foods was founded in late 2016 and early 2017 with the ideology of really connecting Saskatchewan, Alberta, Manitoba, Canadian growers to the end markets. I'm from the United States, Kansas City, go Chiefs.
Yankee. Well, is that producer Jay? Is that rude of me to say? It's like him calling me a Canuck, right?
I don't think it's politically incorrect. I think you're okay.
So you're a fucking Yankee, and welcome to the show.
Thank you. So,
sorry to interrupt.
Purely Canada Foods, we built the company, the bricks and mortar, and the people of the company. Culture is very important to us with really providing better for you and better ingredients and connecting the local farmers in Western Canada to the global markets. We've got extensive history with a lot of our directors, our cereals and our oilseeds group and our pulses group of really understanding how markets work, how consumers think, and getting those, we call them disruptive grains. So lots of canola, lots of durum wheat, lots of lentils, and bring those into our elevator system, handle them, and try to do something with them. Are we segregating? Are we identity preserving? Are we cleaning? Are we color sorting? Are we bagging? And how are we delivering that ingredient to the doorstep of our customers in North America, Europe, the Asias? Sorry, that's the wrong thing to say. Asia and other places.
Good stuff. So obviously there's a team of you out there. About how many employees at Purely Canada?
Yeah, Lejord, Saskatchewan, so 18 minutes outside Regina is our headquarters and where our largest facility, grain facility is. We've got about 12 to 15 employees out there and a full team of operations staff on top of that. And then we have several other elevators located across Saskatchewan.
Yeah. And the notable, like obviously at home turf there in Lejord, did I hear you say fifth largest grain handling complex in Canada?
Yeah, you did. It's very significant. And we believe the future and purchasing patterns from a lot of our customers are really in making sure that we not only have the grain contract and we're doing something with it, but we have physical custody. Yeah. And having custody so we can make sure that it hits timely shipments in a rail car, in containers, and et cetera. So yeah, we've got lots of infrastructure, lots of bricks and mortar that we've designed with our partners out there.
Yeah, it's a very impressive site. So if any of our listeners are driving down 33 highway, correct?
Yeah, the 33.
Yeah, it is something to see. Like as Tyler said, it is the fifth largest in Canada. So you can imagine it rivals every other grain handler in the country. So thank you for that. That was perfect. Tyler, I want to know your history. So, I mean, you see, it's a industry that you got into and are very, very good at. Where did all this start for you?
Agriculture for me started growing up in a small rural town outside Kansas City. So it was always involved different type of operations, of course, were corn and soybean focused down in the Midwest primarily, but the understanding of agriculture and how to grow things, really, grew with me going through university. I went through the business school, and then shifted my focus over into the agricultural business school in Missouri, University of Missouri, and then had a passion for it. And then got into a trading career with a Kansas City-based firm right out of university, and started venturing into Western Canada in 2012 with the dissolution of the Canadian Wheat Board, and then understanding, wow, impressive operations up here, very sizable, scalable, and the understanding of how Saskatchewan, I'm just using a rough number, must export a majority, 90-something% of all their grain. We're an exporter here. And how do we bridge that supply chain? How do we bridge that gap and connect the local growers to the world markets? And then we did that in 2016, 2017, circled up a very good group of original core shareholders we had. So the original founders of the Purely Canada Foods company incorporate 6 Saskatchewan-based farms. Those are the original core shareholders, and we raised a little bit of capital with that group, and then away we went. And we've grown and grown and grown, and
never stops. I mean, the size of the farms are just like, and I mean, that's really notable for us because I mean, just a little history. When we came to Regina, the size and scale of these farms is like nothing we've ever seen before. You know, like I mean, you know, 5,000 acres is a decent size in Manitoba. 10,000, you're getting amongst elite. So we're, you know, the home farm there, you know, are tipping on 70,000 acres. And I mean, there's a lot of operations that size. So, it completely makes sense when you say you came up and saw the operation. Where did that were you researching on the size of farms, or like, I mean, obviously we're the mecca of agriculture here in Saskatchewan. So was that ringing bells in Wisconsin or?
Well, if I was that calculated, I'd be lying to you.
Yeah.
And when I was young, right out of university, there was an open position to take the one of the trading desk in Western Canada. And I gladly jumped on it because it was something new. It was outside the normal. Everyone wants to fit in certain silos or avenues of business, and I wanted to explore something different. You know, a lot of times when you're this entering new markets, you know, you got to compete for market share, but once you're in, and you can just grow, and the seeds of the foundation just continue to grow for us, and we've worked really hard on bringing in good people and culture within the organization, and I forget the statistic I was looking up. It's something like our retention rate is over 99%.
Really?
For the company since inception. So
wow,
very proud of that. Very proud of that from the leadership group and that we've put forth in the way that we operate, and it is a family style business as much as like yours as well.
Absolutely, yeah. We definitely share that culture within the two businesses. So, going back to your education and where it started for you, obviously the passion for farming was introduced at a younger age for yourself. So, you said you went to school for business. How out of that business was agriculture first, and then you decided to apply the business to it was a trading job, you said, right?
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know what I really wanted to do. I thought it was sales. I thought I wanted to be in sales, and grain origination and selling and trading is pretty much buying and selling.
Yeah.
And there's no calculated method of how I ended up where I did. I went for a job interview and told them the 300 people that they were going to hire. I promised I was not in the top half of the GPA category, but I would outwork the other 299. I promised that, and they took a flyer and took a chance, and away we went.
Amazing. Yeah, amazing. So, yeah, you're very transparent with them. I bet they appreciated that. And
yeah, they did.
Yeah. Your GPA has gone up, I bet, a little bit since then, though.
Yeah, it's funny. You don't have to put that on a resume once you've had your first job for a few years, but I was so nervous. I was so nervous for that first interview. I didn't have a functioning vehicle at the time, so of course I borrowed my mother's vehicle to go for the job interview, and I was out front, spilled Coca-Cola all over my white dress shirt and my suit, and then tried to put some eye drops on there to remove the Coca-Cola in my mother's vehicle. Of course, she had eyeliner, so now I had Coca-Cola, and then I had eyeliner all over a white shirt on my first job interview. Couldn't have been more nervous, but that was a good icebreaker when they actually asked me what's an icebreaker, and I told the story. Like, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, and they still hired you with all the stains on your shirt.
Real world problems.
Right on. So, what's a day in the life for Tyler like? I mean, obviously you've got a massive operation out there. Is it a lot of marketing? Is it still trading? Is it Give me what it is.
It's growth.
Yep.
You know, for 7 straight years, our growth rate has been 92% every single year, which is easier to do in the first 2 to 3 to 4 years because you're just starting with so much smaller. But when the scale becomes larger, you're focused on that growth and then the resources behind that, whether that's accounting or logistics or trading or purchasing or terminal management or operations in general. You know, my day-to-day job, I couldn't write it down because it's different every day. It's no longer segmented in just selling durum wheat or purchasing or running or working at a grain terminal, because I'm trying to oversee and empower all those different people in those segments every day.
Right on. So, and when you say 92% growth year over year, we're talking the amount of product that you're marketing?
Yeah, just based on physical tonnage that we've handled. And we've been able to do that by, of course, having a large terminal outside Regina. but also acquiring 2 more grain terminals.
Yeah.
One outside Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, in a nice town called Avonlea.
Yep.
And then the other one on the western side of Saskatchewan over in a town called Kindersley, just
Okay.
off the border there. So those are primarily pulse handling assets, lots of lentils, canary seed, chickpeas, etc.
Yeah.
And then our core more commoditized things like canola, spring wheat, durum at LeJord.
Yeah. And what's the, what in bushels, what's the capacity of LeJord terminal?
A little over 3 million bushels, so it'll be about 92,000 metric tons, but quick math would tell me about 3.2 million bushels, something like that. And
Yeah.
you can put a lot of grain through there. You can turn an elevator 10 or 15 times. So
Yeah.
now we look at we want to handle. Could we handle 750,000 to a million tons? Possibly. But that's not our model.
Right.
The model that we built that elevator was big storage. Identity preserved ingredients for our customers, whether it's going to Post Foods or Barilla Pasta, a lot of the names that you'll see here, or recently we've been very involved in the pet food industry, shipping them certain byproducts to get the protein levels up in dog food. And we want to make sure that our customer knows exactly how that ingredient has been stamped and certified and qualified to meet their standards. We try to, there's always a level, there's a barrier of achievement that you try to hit on shipping them various characteristics of a grain, and we try to ship the best that we can.
Absolutely.
So better above the threshold, absolutely, and the reliability of that has what's continued to gain us customer market share year over year.
Right on. So I got to make a plug. You mentioned Avonlea in there, great little town. Actually, my stepson Jax goes to school there, and what a great little Saskatchewan town there. But that transaction is pretty fresh, is it not? That terminal, or has it been a couple years?
I think it'll be about 2 years here in August.
Oh, right on. Growing, moving into different towns. It's it's all amazing. So when you going back to the quality of food, obviously you have producers that you're doing contracts with and providing the terminal or supplying the terminal with their product. Are you involved in any of the aspect of the planting, the growth, and the harvest of it? In order to maintain that quality?
No, we're not necessarily. That's. If there's any issues of that, we try to work through. One of our mottos is we don't turn any grain. Try not to turn much or any grain away. We've got the tools and the utilities at a terminal to clean it or dry it or stay open a little later. When by service. So we try not to turn anything away that we can, as long as we can deal with it. And there's not a safety concern. We just need to know how to segregate it. So we work with the producers really well that way, which means we don't have to, let the producers do their job. They're great at growing the grain and harvesting it. And then, some things you just can't get around, weather events and issues like that. So then let us try to do our job and do good at handling those mishaps that are sometimes created. And unfortunately.
Yeah, they do happen. Absolutely. It's all part of the game. And you get one shot at it a year. So, you cross your fingers that everything goes well. And typically everything does go well. But like you said, things happen. So out of the facilities that Purely Canada owns, shipping to all corners of the earth here, is there a primary area, continent, country that you're shipping to? Or is it pretty much... Yeah, anywhere.
She's about 29 or 30 countries today.
Is that right?
And at any one point, it could be, we've got goods going east or west or south and every way that we need to. Of course, Saskatchewan and Western Canada, I should say, is an exporter. So, we don't have the river system that the United States does. We've got a rail system. So we're dependent on the railways and the trucks to carry the goods. So we're always keeping an eye on how those are performing to make sure that, if there is a fault on one of the railways, for example, that we find another way to get our goods there.
Yeah. So, access to the railway. You guys are very well vertically integrated because you go to any other terminal, the bigger, not bigger per se, because you guys are one of the bigger ones, but you, correct me if I'm wrong, but own your own grain carts or grain cars.
Yeah, we do. That's one of the other steps in the transportation chain that we've bridged. We have a terminal. We've got all the way back to having strategic farming partners and owners in the business. So we've got partners there. We own our terminals. We own our infrastructure. We own our own rail, and we own our own rail cars.
Yeah.
And that's why is that a benefit? Why, instead of just looking at that like a cost? Well, it's a benefit to our customers if they need to, any real time ingredient in a pet food ration. There could be 30 ingredients, beans and flax and peas and lentils and corn and everything else that's in an ingredient, maybe they're shifting their formulations and their dial just a little bit, so they need to set on that inventory a little bit longer. Well, that's perfect. No problem. That's exactly why we have these cars for them to use, and it's a part of our sales package.
Yeah. Right on. So for our listeners, is there any notable products? Like, I mean, obviously it's all food, right? Like, I mean, so is there any notable products that we'd see on our shelves that Purely Canada is, a part of producing?
We're not in the CPG sense where you'd actually be buying that, but we're large suppliers to many of the names. I don't want to plug the names.
That's okay. Yeah,
without
okay.
asking, but many ingredients and pastas that you'd see on the shelf, or dog food you might buy in a local Costco here in Regina, things of that nature, we'd be very big suppliers of.
Good stuff. Yeah. That's amazing. It's just so, like, I mean, we're the farming industry around here. Like I said before, we're in the mecca of the industry, and, talking to you and, talking to some of our customers that, we're really coming out of the field into your facility, into the car, and to a producer we're feeding the world. We're feeding the world. So how does the food, or how does the, I guess, product grading process go?
She goes good. It goes good.
Okay. Yeah. So should maybe I rephrase? Like, I mean, like, are you grading on site at La George?
We are.
Okay.
So one of the steps that we've done is we actually have a third party company.
Okay.
One of, if not the only, grain company in Canada to actually hire a third party and not do it yourself. So if a producer comes in and they get that certificate right in front of them. Here's exactly what it is. And if they disagree with that, that's they can take that up with a third party that's on site. So we've done another step. Now, why that what's another large benefit to us is that everything that goes out has an immediate certification to it, whether it's going to a Rogers Flour in Chilliwack or to the coast or to a Barilla Pasta, for example. We have that certificate ready for them before the rail car leaves our facility. Wow. It's very important. Very important.
And obviously that means everything to them, because I mean, like, and they're not, like, the end user's not going as far as, or are they, like, I mean, kind of broad, like, showing off that certificate and, like, this is where our food's coming from. Like, is there any of that? Like, is there any, this is where we source and it's coming from here, or is it just?
All the large food companies are trying to get closer to the farm. They want to know what your sustainability practices, what's your regenerative protocols, and all this stuff from simple grain companies. You could tell them, simply tell them, we're only a grain company. We buy the grain and we ship it to you. Stop right there. Here's a certificate. Or you could partner with them, which we've done. Partner with them and say, here's our binder. Here's the secret. Here's the secret of how we do things. Here's the protocols and checklist and what the farmers put on there, what fertilizer they use, what are some of the pesticides or insecticides that they've used, and have that full. I call it like a full a la carte menu for the customer.
Yeah, yeah. A menu.
Now that's it's interesting, because how do we get to the question, how do we extract the value? Where's the value extracted for that? And that's that's a price point that the food companies will be deploying to consumers, I believe. Otherwise, how do it costs? There's something monies that are costed, I should say, if that's the right word, to create these manuals, to put the time and the resources and the people forward to do it, from at the farm level to get started at the producer level, and then at the handling level and the grain company level, of which we have, and then pass that on. But, there has been no monies necessarily coming back for that yet, and I think that's going to be a shift that the food companies will be passing on to the consumer in their pricing.
Oh, right on. Good stuff. It's coming back to the consumer, back to the producer, sorry.
Yeah, that'll be exactly right. We want you to tell us exactly your manual. Here's what we've developed. We want you to check all the boxes, and by doing so, we're willing to participate with you and give you a premium for doing so. It comes all the way back, and it's the story on the label. Where was this wheat grown? Where was this canola grown? It was grown in the heart of the prairies. Yeah. Whether it's Saskatchewan or Alberta or Manitoba.
Yeah, and that's worth something now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like I said, it's the mecca of farming here. You mentioned before that your career started in trading. Is that something you still do right now, or is that like?
I wish I did.
You wish you did.
Yeah, I wish I.
Maybe there's another part of Purely Canada that gets into trading.
There's we've got great people that we've brought in the organization that run lentil books and our special crops books and our cereals, which is primarily Durham and spring wheat around here, and then canola for oil seeds. And we've got great people that run those books, and that used to be when that is how we built the company from day one. But I find myself getting pulled in many directions these days. So unfortunately, I don't get to do the fun stuff.
So that's why the day is never the same for you.
That's never the same.
Yeah. Physically getting pulled in every directions. So I'm going to be very transparent with you here and our listeners right now. As far as pricing on grain and commodities, like, I mean, I know surface level stuff, not knowing, what directly affects the prices. And obviously the prices are important to our customers because, I mean, ultimately that's what that's where the money comes from. If you could explain it to me as a guy not knowing, what are the kind of top three things that affect a commodity price?
Supply and demand, obviously.
Yep.
Which is, it's different for certain things. Western Canada is a large producer of wheat, for example, but there's a lot of other wheat produced in the world, so we don't move the meter as much as we might do on something like Durham wheat, for example. That's a very niche and boutique, only grown in primarily northern parts of Montana, North Dakota, and Saskatchewan, and then southern parts of Western Canada. Or a very small crop like canary seed. That's a very, very boutique, very small. So when there's a supply and demand problem, supply related for sure, that those needles move faster. Prices go up, prices come down, and we've got an abundance. So that's a big one. Weather events are a big mover. Whether we're into a drought, and how does that affect things is very interesting, because if we're in a perceived drought, maybe the producer's selling patterns change and growers want to hold on to their inventory a little longer. Mm-hmm. They're just they don't know what's necessarily coming at them. Maybe seeding into a drought or some hot temperatures through the summer, they hang on, and so that creates a shortfall there as well. Demand side is, as we are dependent on demand, it's it could be very challenging, whether it's a geopolitical event or a rail strike, or a strike at the Vancouver port, for example. These are all things that have happened and just slow the supply chain down.
Yeah.
I would say, and this was become very forefront during COVID, a lot of the food space globally is on a just-in-time. So when people talk about how bare the store shelves are, well, what do you think why? How does that, you don't realize what one little every week-long event that we have has lots of long ripples that come after that.
Mm-hmm. We're seeing prices that we've never seen before in commodities. Like, I mean, we call it the last 2 years. Like, I mean, I believe canola is trading in there or selling in the high teens still. Like, I mean, obviously COVID's, a few years behind us. We saw an increase, towards the end of that. Why would that price still be up there like that? Like, I mean, obviously we've had some really good years here as far as, growing and growing and producing. So, I mean, what's keeping these high prices right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. We've had tighter supply on some of the crops than we have. Had a couple years of drought and then a year of COVID, high prices cure high prices, and by that, what I mean is, let's just take a canola, for example. If it's in the teens, look at what canola acres will do. Everyone will shift a little bit, and it doesn't take much. If a producer shifts 5 or 10% of their seeding over to more canola this year, for example, than they did the last, that moves the needle a lot. So prices have hit the high tides. They have hit the high tides in every aspect, and they are coming down significantly. Some as much as have been cut in almost half.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
really?
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, like, I mean, the glory days right now, because I mean, I'm a very simplistic surface level view. When the prices are high, that means our customers are winning. Let's call it that, and and everybody's happy. And it's not only comes down to the equipment that we sell, but like, I mean, you'll see the economy in like a place like Regina increase. Like, I mean, that people are going out for dinner more. They're taking their families out. They're just doing more activities. So it's it's a very interesting aspect, and a very interesting, I guess, thought about how much those prices affect not just yourself and our business, but the economy itself. So
yeah, absolutely. And a large myth out there is grain companies want the prices to go down, and that's completely false. You hit the nail on the head. High prices is a high tide for economy. The monies that get spent, the community involvement. I mean, look at a lot of the rural rinks and the survivability is dependent on a lot of the local farms and how they're taking care of that, and the local ag companies. So yeah, we're strong proponents of healthy crops and healthy prices all the way around.
Yeah.
If we big crops, if that's a good thing. That just means there's more grain for us to handle. And,
That's right.
And more things coming down the pipipeline.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we just have to get a little bit less of these steel bins getting built on the farms so we can put them in our terminals and let Jordan hold it.
Well, I don't know if you're going to get that to stop, but I mean, certainly maybe if you built more bins, I don't know how you do on that, but I mean, like those handling facilities, like the one you have in LeJord, like, I mean, you could have more capacity there. Like they're built to add. Yeah,
they are. We've got lots of footprint. In fact, I think a New Holland blue would look good on a couple of those bins.
You just let me know. I mean, that's a lot of spray paint cans, but I mean, I can haul them out there.
Yeah.
We got trailers, and I probably find a few friends that will spray paint for 6 months. I know producer Jay would be in, wouldn't you?
I'm an artist. I'm an artist, baby.
We did talk. I forget. We spoke to a group that had some local. I don't know if the word graffiti artist is the right wording to use, but they were going to do some nice murals on there for us. When you think about a rail car leaving Regina, going to, whether it's to the United States or to Mexico or to Vancouver or wherever else that we're shipping to, it's a moving billboard.
Absolutely, it is.
It's a moving billboard. It's going right through the prairies.
Yep.
So when we want to talk about partnering with someone, we've put a couple of our customer names, painted some rail cars up, and done some nice decals that we've had made there from our partners at AdSpark.
Yeah.
And they put some nice Purely Canada and our customer's name on a couple moving billboards.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about a Mazer Group New Holland sign going from Regina to Vancouver and back. Oh,
I see what you're doing right now.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, we need to talk about that after the podcast here, because I'd be definitely interested in that. So on that note, on your rail cars that you own, like, I mean, obviously we have the obvious ones. You're heading out to the West Coast. Do you go east?
We do go east. Yeah. Not quite as much goes east.
Yeah.
Just because we're so far away.
Right.
I think we were doing the math the other day. We're just as close, or very, for us to ship a rail car out to Montreal is almost the same distance to go to Mexico City.
No way.
Yeah, it's pretty close. We were doing the math, and how does the railways treat that? Well, they charge you twice as much to go south.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
But you're going right to a consumer.
Yeah, that's interesting, because that's the next thing I was going to ask you is, like, how deep do you go to the south in the motherland for you?
Yeah, well, by via rail car, we're doing lots to the United States and lots down to Mexico. Large shippers of Durham and lentils.
And you're going to Mexico?
Yeah,
really?
Lots going down there.
Wow. And is it getting exported from Mexico, or they're using it?
They're using it down there.
Wow.
They're consuming that down there.
Unbelievable. Yeah. So you guys, and so what as far as a duration of trip for one
it's
of your
trips? Way too long.
Way too
long. 60 days.
60 days?
By the time it gets down there. And, that's handed off to 2 or 3 different railroads and put once it crosses the border at Eagle Pass, Texas, or Laredo, somewhere like that. It's put onto a Mexican-based rail line, and then by the time they have it and take it into their customers in the large city centers down there and bring it back, it takes quite a while.
Yeah.
So we're always looking at the efficiencies. Should we be sending cars? Should we be sending not our cars down there? But it's a service package at the end, and that's what wins. It's the margins are tight. The margins are tight in our industry. They're being squeezed at the consumer level. They're I should say it maybe the processor and the store level. They're being squeezed, and everyone's looking for a way to try to get one leg up.
Yeah. Have you ever thrown like an Apple AirTag or anything on one of the cars just to see like the route? Or do you already know the route?
I get a report every morning.
Oh, you do? Okay. Yeah.
We were going to do what do you call them? A GoPro.
Yeah.
We were going to clamp a GoPro to one if I could find a battery to go long enough and just let it go through the prairie, right when canola and the flax fields are flowering, from here to Vancouver, go all through the mountains and kind of see a week in the life of a rail trans. I thought that'd be really pretty, but time ran short. But
that would be unbelievable. And certainly maybe you probably find something to power that thing all the way out there. I don't think those things suck up too much. Like, I mean, they're made for staying on and watching that kind of stuff, right? So that would be something. You should get into that.
Just the time-lapse video, I think it would be great.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. Yeah. So since you came up to Canada, Purely Canada Foods was created. You're here. What's been the biggest win for Tyler West? Obviously, there's been a lot of them, but like the one that sticks out to you.
The people.
Yeah.
The people. We continue to get good people come through our doors. And whether that's because of the momentum and the speed or the culture that we've built, or other people in the culture in the organization, the other people that we have, I don't know. I can't speak to what exactly it is, but hiring and bringing in good people. We don't have a lot of employees. We've got lots of partners. Have a lot of people in our company are have an ownership stake of some type in the company, and they just, we work really hard. We have fun, but that's the win.
Yep.
All day long. We can talk about growth or revenue or earnings or multiples. That's fine too. Business that we've acquired, but at the end of the day, the biggest victory in my eyes is people.
Yeah. Yeah. You got a good crew out there. I mean, they're all, like you said there, they're all great people to work with. And I mean, when it's the same thing every day, I'd say same thing when you're coming into the same building every day. That's a big part of it. And if you've got character and you've got hard workers, that's the win. Yeah. That's definitely the win. So we're just going to break it up a little bit here, Tyler. We're just going to do some Q&A with you with some very light topics. The first one is, would you rather? Have you played that before? It's not really a game. I'm just going to give you things. Would you rather this or this?
Well, you just fast fire. Here we go.
Fast fire. Here we go. Say, would you rather? Would you rather be really smart or really athletic?
Smart.
Yeah.
All day long.
Yeah. I like it. For myself, I've never been an athletic guy. I'm from the prairies, never did any hockey like that. I was a downhill skier, but if you can believe that or not. But yeah, smart, you can go a long way. You're smart enough to move to Canada from the U.S., so right there.
So are you taking athletics over what's your...
No, I'm smart. Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, 100%. Would you rather eat breakfast foods or dinner foods for the rest of your life?
Oh, man, I got a big appetite. I'm running about 10 pounds heavy right now. So if I had to pick one, dinner foods.
Yeah.
Can only have so many scrambled eggs. But what we don't have, I have hard to find up in Canada, is the Southern style biscuits and gravy with the white gravy in it.
White gravy.
That might change my mind.
Oh, I love it. White biscuits and gravy. Would you rather never be able to go out during the day or never be able to go out at night?
Wow.
Yeah, it's deep.
It's
so deep.
That's a work-life balance question too. Oh, yeah. I don't. I'm a pretty big daytime fan, so lots of outdoor activities. So I think I could give up the going out at night.
Yep, I'm with you. I was the exact same one. Last one. Would you rather always have a full phone battery or a full gas tank?
Oh, phone battery for sure. I'd be anxious if I was running low on the phone. I could pull over for fuel, or there's AAA. That solves a lot of things. That solve that.
I think everybody gets that little note of anxiety when you see 3% and it's coming down. I don't know if you're the same way, Producer Jay, but
I can tell you my anxiety goes way up when I see 4 kilometers left on the tank.
That's right. Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
Yeah, and you're in LeJord.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's the next thing you guys need to put out there is a gas station.
We've thought about that.
It's been discussed.
Yeah, it has
that's
been.
Amazing.
We've had a couple of reach out calls. LeJord is it's an agronomic center. They've got fertilizer company out there. There's a farm located out there. There's a agronomy super center located out there, and then of course that's our home base for Purely Canada Foods. So we've tried to create a one-stop shop. We are just a fuel station in Tim Hortons away from having a full stop place out there.
Yeah, and that would be amazing in itself.
We have a full-time chef. We have a chef out there on Mondays.
Yes, we've heard all about that.
Chef Terry, she prepares my opinion, the world famous lentils. Lentils that have been grown on the farm and handled through our system. So we treat everyone to Chef Terry's world famous lentil soup when they come out on Monday afternoons.
Nice. So what you said before about having a gas station at Tim Hortons away from being a full service stop, I've just made one up here. Would you rather have a Tim Hortons out there, or would you rather have a Starbucks out there? Oh,
nice.
Bam!
Doing that to me. Since this question, since you kind of added this question in, I just would say I'd take both.
Really? Bending the rules, are we?
If you add questions, then I can make my own rules.
Touche, my friend. Touche. Do you want to answer that one too, Producer Jay?
Do you guys know I've never had a sip of coffee in my life?
Come on.
Nope. So I'm going Tim Hortons because I like their donuts.
Wow. Is there a reason for that?
Just never was drawn to any of the taste, and I don't know, for some reason I saw a lot of people that needed it all the time, and I didn't want to add that to my life.
Oh, that's amazing. Yes, I had the same view of it as you when I was, I mean, up until my mid-20s. Didn't like the taste, didn't understand what all the hype was about. And then, the day finally came, much like wine for me. I wasn't a wine drinker until my mid-20s. But the day came, and now coffee is just, it's so wonderful. Maybe your day will still come.
So you had to give up coffee or wine.
I think I would give up wine. Yeah, I think I would give up wine because coffee is just so magical in the morning. Like, I mean, oh yeah, it's whether it's at work or you're at the cabin, you know, just getting up from a night of your choosing. You can do an extreme night, or you can just do a family night. But waking up and looking over that lake and having a cup in your hands of coffee is second to none. Maybe a little additive in there, like via Bailey's, something. Bailey's, Gretzky's my big one now, but yeah, that would be me.
Oh,
yep.
No judgment here.
Right on. Good. You?
Oh, well, I would love to become more of a wine connoisseur and just learn more about wine. So that would be easy. I could give up wine because I enjoy it. I like it. I just don't know enough about it, and that's just from lack of doing more and learning more.
Sure.
I find it very interesting.
Yep.
I don't. I listen. I'm a good listener when people recommend wine, and I always take their recommendations on pairings and do this and that. But that's one of the things I'd like to learn more and become a little more cultured around wine.
Like
and
it.
Good food.
Yes. Two things on that note. One, if you're into Netflix, I think it's on Netflix. If not, you can buy it on Apple Movies or whatever. There's a documentary called Somm, and it's documenting 4 or 5 guys going through the sommelier course, and like right up to a master sommelier, where they do blind taste testing and tell like the varietal, the region.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's crazy. And so there's Somm 2 and Somm 3, and it's all about the same thing. So that would be one. And the second thing is just you should spend a day with Jason.
Oh, I know. He's can't even say he's a book of knowledge. He's much more than that.
Of course he is. Yeah. I can't wait to get him in here because I mean, he's a pleasure to talk to. Like, I mean, just a pleasure to talk to in general. Never mind, like picking his brain about wine and all that kind of stuff. So, anyway, those are my two.
Maybe we could have a wine night.
It.
We could do an after podcast roundup.
Yep.
The quarterly review of the podcast series, Turnin Dirt. We could do it at one over a bottle or two of wine.
Oh my God, I love what I'm hearing right now. Like, so love what I'm hearing. So we'll you and I will chat about that. Okay, we're going to switch gears again. Kind of a similar, they don't call it a game, but kind of question. We're going to rank best sporting events. So
NFL, Super Bowl when the Chiefs win.
Just hang on a second. Okay. No, yeah, but I get that. Are you a Chiefs fan? Of course you are. You're from Kansas
City.
Got
a license plate that's got the Chiefs, and I drive a red truck.
Okay, you're a Chiefs fan. I get it. I've never been a huge sports, like watching sports, but I mean, like anything, if it gets like a Super Bowl, obviously a reason to get together with everybody. And playoffs, we're in NHL playoffs right now. I'll watch the odd game, but never watched like regular season, anything like that. Just never got into it. But for this one, best sports events to attend, I'm going to give you there's 5 rankings, 1 through 5, 1 being the best, 5 being like your lowest. So we're going to go one at a time though. So I'm going to give you the first one, and if you rank it 3 is taken. You understand?
3 is taken.
Like your third ranking is taken. So there's taken. So the first, like the first as your favorite, the 5th as your least favorite.
Yeah.
Giving you one at a time. So the first one. Let's just do the first one. NBA Finals. So rank that from 1 to 5.
I don't know the other 4.
No, this is why it's so great.
It's like dating.
I'm going to fuck you right over here. It's great.
NBA Finals, 3.7.
So just 3. We'll round it down to 3. Okay. So the third,
4.
It is 4. We'll round it up to 4. Because you want to take 4?
Yeah.
Okay. So anybody else is 4th. You have 1, 2, 3, and 5 left.
I got it.
Okay. World Cup.
1.
Really?
Oh, yeah, 1.
Really?
Well, isn't it one of the largest sporting events in the world?
It is. It's the largest. But do you like it though?
Well, I don't have to like it. I would just like to see the culture of wherever it's at and the atmosphere.
But you haven't seen it though. So
but I don't know my other 3 choices.
Yeah, that's fine though. But like, okay, we'll move on. Okay,
you could give me something like way off topic here.
Okay, Stanley Cup Finals. 1 and 4 are taken.
2.
Okay, 3 and 5 available. The World Series.
If the Kansas City Royals are playing, it would be higher, but I go 5.
Okay. What's left? 3? I think 3's left. Yeah. Super Bowl. See?
It's tough because there's a great odds of the Chiefs always being in it. See, you know what? I put the Super Bowl in. What do I have in 2? Oh yeah, I'd flop that. So if now that I know, I would still go World Cup number 1. I would go Super Bowl number 2. Then I would go NHL play or whatever the Stanley Cup playoffs. I don't watch that much hockey.
Yeah, neither do I.
And then the other 2 at the end.
Okay. I mean, that's not how the game works, but I'll let you do it. I'll let you modify post every.
Well, I answered, and now I just like if I had to recategorize and reclassify, that's how I'd go at it.
Very good. Right on. Like it. Tyler, it's been an absolute pleasure. Can you come back?
Absolutely.
Right
on.
on.
Yeah. Do I get any questions?
You can ask away if you'd like. I'll answer the best of my ability.
What's next on the Mazer Group radar?
What's next? We're excelling. We're doing our best to excel at everything we're doing right now. When I say everything, I know what you're asking is if our footprint's going to grow. We are trying to get to a performance excellence level in what we have right now. Our most recent acquisition was the 619 stores. It's kind of an internal reference, but it's Yorkton, Watrous, Raymore.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah, they've been, and that was September 1st of 2020. So they've been on board for a couple of years now, and they've been an unbelievable addition to the group. Raymore's become an unbelievable used market there, which bodes well for the Regina locations because this is the biggest dealership of the group, and we move most of the used stuff out of here. Obviously, there's used business in Manitoba, but we have a big new market here. So obviously, with new comes the trades and used, and Raymore's just been unbelievable for that. The other 2 stores, Yorkton and Watrous. Watrous does very well. Yorkton, I believe, has the most opportunity right now. We didn't, the previous owners, they did a good job up there, but mostly a really good short line dealership. Obviously, they were New Holland, but there's a lot of opportunity in Yorkton. So that's what I'm focusing on because I'm the director of sales for Saskatchewan. I look after the 5 stores. So it'd be Yorkton, Watrous, Raymore, Regina, and Moosomin. So, I'd be lying if I said that we didn't have maybe a few other stores in our sites. We've had discussions with those stores. They're family owned and operated, very, very nice people, and we're just I think we're both at a point where they're kind of at the same mindset as us. They're happy with where they're at right now. When and if the time comes, I will fire discussions back up, but. Yeah, that's where we're at.
Good. One last question.
Yep.
I'm very curious. I'd like to know you've been very successful, have been successful across lots and lots of stores. What do you attribute to keeping the good people and the culture and keeping that growing, and you're always expanding, and that's just a huge congratulations.
Thank you very much.
What are a couple things you could comment from your side on what you've done?
Well, I think the biggest thing is our culture. You nail it on the head. To maintain that family owned and operated complex, having empathy for the farmers because we are farmers ourselves. And I think just being involved for our employees in a company of our size, but still maintains that family owned and operated culture is, I think, a huge asset for us. We pride ourselves in, and I guess within that culture with the family owner and operator, we pride ourselves in making the customer first and asking questions later. So, I mean, obviously we're dealing with some huge equipment here and combines and tractors and everything that comes with agriculture, but we really fix now and ask questions later. We understand that we empathize with the farmer. We understand that the number one priority is getting the seed in the ground, looking after that seed, and then harvesting what comes out of that seed. So it is a focus to make sure the customer is always looked after. The understanding that downtime is everything. Downtime is everything that we have to prevent it. So that's I think that's one of our big success drivers. Is those two things: the culture within the company, and then our empathy with the customers and making sure that they're looked after.
Oh, thank you very much. Well said.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. That's it. Is that all you got? Maybe next time you can ask more.
Well, I'll come with a list of questions.
I like it. I like it a lot. Again, Tyler, thank you so much for joining us. It's been awesome, and please do come back again.
That's been a pleasure. Thank you. Looking forward to it.
Right on. Thanks.